Gwaltney Group RE results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning, everybody. Andy Brownell on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. It's Saturday morning, shaping up to be hopefully a wonderful weekend, and I am joined by Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE results. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing great. I hope your day's starting out well.
It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Nice to see a little sun peeking through. And it's maybe not going to be snowing or so cold, you know?
Yeah, the forecast for the next week is quite a bit more promising than what we've had the past couple weeks.
I'm excited because after the show this morning, I have the Easter egg hunt over in Wabasha for the Wabasha office. And we've been working on it. The gals that work at the Wabasha office and myself have been shopping and stuffing eggs and getting prizes. And we're getting so excited, but it's all set up and it looks so good. And I think the kids are going to have a blast. Next week is Easter already, Andy.
I know.
How
Summer
crazy is that? It doesn't
fast.
feel like we've had enough spring for it to be Easter next week, but it is what it is.
So the Easter egg hunt are the eggs hidden just in the office, or do you go out into the park?
They're out we're right by Heritage Park, so
right.
I think word hidden is pretty loose term because they're just scattered all over the park. So it'll be pretty easy for the kids just to spot some and pick them up. It's just that they don't know if they found a treasure or a Tootsie Roll or, until they open them. So that's the fun of it.
I remember taking my kids when they were little to the Easter egg hunts, and you could see the different personalities of the kids. You had the highly aggressive, high-energy kids running about, scooping up as many eggs as they possibly could. And then the more passive kids who, whatever. And then the really passive kids who had to be led by mom or dad, and Mom and Dad half the time had to pick up the egg.
We're trying to use a little structure because it was a little bit of mayhem last year. So, you learn, right? So we're trying to do a little structure. And so we know how many eggs we have. And we're going to kind of get a rough estimate count of the kids by dividing them into age groups before they start. And then we're going to tell them, you can pick up 10 eggs or 12 eggs or whatever it is. So when they're done, then they stop.
Okay.
So we're going to try to keep it a little bit fair.
That would resolve many of the issues, I imagine.
Yes. It's supposed to be a fun day, not a tear-filled day.
Oh, it's going to be fun regardless.
Yes. So I might be doing fun stuff. And actually, some of my team members are helping. But I do have some team members doing open houses this weekend. So
fantastic.
We're not all playing. Some people are working. And we have some new listings that are coming on the market and have just come on the market. So if people want to see those, don't worry. There'll be plenty of us available and ready to show houses as well.
The show must go on.
Correct.
Regardless of Easter egg hunts.
Correct.
So do you have some listings you can talk about that
yes,
have open houses?
We actually have a nice two-story up 5182 Southern Ridge Lane Southwest. It's not a new listing. We've actually had it on the market for a couple of weeks, which in this market is crazy. But it's a really big house, and it was built for multi-generational family. So it's got 5 bedrooms plus an office and 4 bathrooms. And it's a 3-car garage. It was built in, I think, let me see. I should be able to find that on here. It's not terribly old.
It sounds like the perfect post-pandemic home.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of room to spread out for sure. And we just did a price reduction. So I'm thinking at this price, this thing is going to fly off the shelf. It's $519,900
for that many rooms. Wow.
And it's up on a hill, so it's got a beautiful view, and it looks down over a lot of the other houses in the neighborhood. And it's really pretty, and definitely I think you should check it out if you're in the market to spend a little over $500,000 on a big 2-story with lots of rooms. It is open today from 11 o'clock till 12:30. And Brett's going to be hosting it, so I'm sure he would love it if people stop by and take a look.
3-stall garage.
Yep, 3-stall garage.
That's going to get a few people out there for sure.
Definitely. And then we have a couple of new listings that are going to be held open tomorrow. One of them is at 1433 Ridge Cliff Lane in Northeast. That one was built in 1990, and it is 5 beds, 4 baths, so another big house. This one is listed for $499,900, and it sits on a nice big yard. The lot is 100 by 130, so it's about a third of an acre.
Nice.
And it is going to be held open tomorrow, Sunday, from 10 a.m. until 11:30, and both Michael and Donovan will be there to host that. And when they finish up there, they're going to head over to 428 16th Ave Southwest, and that one is $439,900. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath, another 2-story. It was built in 1946. It's kind of a traditional salt box looking house.
Yeah, it's one of those houses that sits way back from the road, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So
on the south side of the road, yeah.
And that one will be open tomorrow from noon until 1:30. And again, Michael and Donovan will be there. So if you're looking for open house, we do have those 3 this weekend. I have a house that I had put on the market as a coming soon on Thursday, and it's actually just open for showing starting today, and we have quite a few showings scheduled, so I'm excited about that. It's listed at 1408 Crescent Ridge Road, Northwest, and it is listed for $975,000. It has 4 bedrooms and 4 baths and a 3-car garage, and it sits on just over 2 acres. So, beautiful house.
Beautiful, yes.
Yeah. If you want to see that one, feel free to give me a call, and I'll line up a tour for you. And then I have one that is going to be, it's still coming soon, but it will be available next week. And that one is 1211 Fox Hill Place Southwest. It's officially in the MLS as a coming soon. 5 beds, 4 bath, big ranch with 3-car garage. It's 20 years old. It was built in 2002, and it is listed for $929,000. So we've got some nice big, beautiful high-end houses right along with that mid-range. So we got a little bit of something for everybody. We still have Wild Rose Lane because it's sold, and then the buyer was not able to get his permits reinstated easily through the township, and I think he just threw in the towel and sent over the cancellation. So now now there's new people interested and excited, so we'll see where that goes. But I'll tell you what, I was called even by the Post Bulletin this week wanting to do a feature story because so many people in town have so much interest in that. And after doing the podcast with you talking about it, I had a lot of people reach out saying, thank you for telling us the rest of the story. My gosh, it would be such a shame if they actually tore that down. You know, it looks like it would be just beautiful up there. So obviously there's people on both sides of that fence, and time will tell. So we'll just keep watching that one unwind.
I just can't imagine if there was a feasible plan to complete the house that everyone wouldn't jump on board.
Yeah, because I think
such a waste.
It's such a waste. And going through the courts, as we all know, is never a slam dunk. It's pretty drawn out, and especially if one party appeals the decision and then the other party appeals the decision. So it seems to me that route is only going to result in the neighbors looking at the half-finished structure for another, I don't know, year or two.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to just keep us up to date on the developments
definitely
with that.
Will.
I know people are interested. Very good. We already have to take our break, so we'll be right back with more Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM, and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Are you worried about maintaining your lifestyle in retirement?
Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning and welcome back. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results joining me this morning. And the interest rates are creeping up, and now we're hearing, Robin, economists saying that they may creep up higher than we anticipated.
Faster, for sure. Yeah. I actually have an article in my hand that says 5% mortgage rates are on the horizon, and this was dated April 6th, so very, very recent article, and talks about how the mortgage rates have been rising quickly over the past month. A year ago, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage was 3.18%. But last week, it averaged 4.67%.
Oh, my goodness, really?
Mm-hmm. And so that's in 1 year. And mortgage rates surged more than 90 basis points in the month of March alone. So 5% mortgage rates may be here sooner than many housing analysts had originally predicted, which is exactly what you just said.
But to keep it in perspective, that is actually a rate that is in the normal to the lower normal range.
Yeah, 5% is still a fabulous mortgage rate. Absolutely. And, you know, it's tough to swallow if you missed an opportunity to get 3.5. You know, let me just give you some real numbers. So say last year you were able to buy a house at a 3.5% interest rate. And let's say you were looking at $400,000, okay? Your mortgage payment would have been $1,796. Now, if you're going to buy a house for $400,000 at 5%, your mortgage is going to be $2,147.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little tougher to swallow for sure. Still affordable for most people. It's just, you know, when you're talking about an extra $100 a week, that might be another time that you don't go to dinner or, you know, something like that. I mean, it's going to adjust your budget for sure. And unfortunately, the other thing is that $400,000 isn't going to buy you as much house as $400,000 did last year. So as prices go up, you're getting a little less house, right? And then with interest rates going up, you're getting a little higher payment. So some people have the mindset that, oh, maybe I'll just wait for prices to go down or rates to go down. I wouldn't advise that.
Not in this market, especially.
No, I wouldn't advise that. You might have to downsize what you were going to buy. You know, maybe you were going to do that jump from your starter home to your $800,000 house because the interest rates were so great that the payment was going to be, you know, an $800,000 house at 3.5, your payment would have been $35.92. Well, at 5%, that payment would be $42.95. So instead, you might be like, you know what? Let's just go to a $700,000 house where our payment will be $37.58. You know, not a lot more than we planned, just a little less house if it's your budget that you're focusing on.
Right.
But if it's waiting for the interest rates to come down, I think by the time we may never see that. I mean, they may level out right at 4%, drop a little bit. I mean, level out at 5%, maybe once in a while drop down to 4.5%. You know how they used to kind of up and down a little bit. But I sure don't see them ever going back down to 2% and 2.5%. I think that was just a really, you know, COVID-driven situation.
And also, it goes back to the monetary policies that were put in place after 2008.
Right.
And then the COVID pandemic also had a huge impact and created this really unique situation.
And that's what it was a really unique situation. But I do believe that, you know, I still stand to my word that this is not going to be 2008 all over again. We're not going to have the market flooded with foreclosures. We're not going to see prices take a plunge. And the reason I say that is because, I will reiterate, 36% of homes currently do not have a mortgage. 63% of homes currently have positive equity. 1% of homeowners are upside down. So that 1%, if they get behind or they can't make their payments anymore, they, I guess, could be a potential candidate for foreclosure. But if those 63% of homeowners who do have a mortgage decide that their payment has gotten to be too much for them or too uncomfortable or they can't maintain, divorce, who knows what the situation might be, all they'll have to do is put their house on the market and sell it because they've got equity in it. And with the with the prices having increased the way they have, the average homeowner has $155,000 worth of equity. So I think if people can't afford their homes, they'll simply sell them and move on, is what will happen.
And they'll come out ahead at that point as well.
Correct. And then the problem is, if people say, oh, my payment's getting kind of uncomfortable, the taxes just went up again, I think I should sell it and downsize. I say, well, let's look at the whole picture, because if you're telling me that right now you are locked in at 2.5% and your payment on your $700,000 house is $2,200 or $2,400 and you're uncomfortable, just know that with the interest rates going to 5%, you're going to probably be able to spend $300,000 less and not decrease
Right.
your payment by much. So there's just a lot to look at and take into consideration.
I did see some statistics this week as well that in February, and a lot of this was inventory driven and it's also weather driven, that existing home sales slipped a little bit, but during that same time period, the prices went up anyway.
Right. And I think you're right. It was a little bit of a slow start, but I sure tell you what, it was still busier than most winters. Not maybe busier than the prior two, but definitely busy. And I told you, like January, we felt like we were in full swing spring market, right? So the market is strong and the inventory is still really low. And that's why there's still high demand. And that's why prices will continue to rise. Granted, not at the same crazy rate they had been, because those interest rates rising is going to have kind of a leveling effect on that.
Which
so
is
we'll
designed
still
to
see
do.
them going up, just not at that steep rate that we've been increasing year over year.
Okay, time for another break already. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results with us, and we'll be back in just a moment. News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Get ready for the first ever Rochester Encore, a Town Square Media event.
And Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We're back. Robin Gwaltney with Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results this morning on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Robin, I saw a report that caught me by surprise. I don't know if it caught me by surprise. I was intrigued by it. That it said, I think it was, I can't remember the exact percentage, but it was more than 50% of homeowners were considering listing their homes for sale within the next 6 to 12 months. That was considerably higher than I would have thought it would have been.
I'll tell you why it's higher, because we have a lot of, in the last few years, first-time home buyers that entered the market with the millennials and the Gen Zs, right? Well, those folks, I'm going to tell you, it's like clockwork. 5 to 7 years, people list and sell their house.
Sure.
It's been that way forever. They think this is my forever home. I'll be here at least 10 or 15 years. 5 years later, I get a phone call. I'm ready to sell. I mean, it's the way it is. And it's okay. It keeps the machine going, right? So bottom line is that now a lot of those Gen Z and millennials are going to be selling a home for the first time. 5 years ago, they were buying a home for the first time, and now they're getting ready to sell a home for the first time. And as a matter of fact, 44% of Gen Z and 35% of millennials say they are preparing to sell their home in the next 12 months. So add that to the normal amount of homeowners that would be selling, whether it's to upsize, downsize, move. That's why the numbers are so high. That's why there's going to be so many houses in the market. Because everybody's like, well, yeah, they want to sell them because they can get so much for them. Well, that is part of it, but they're going to pay more for the house they buy. They want to sell them because it's time to sell. People outgrow their houses just like we.
Yes, they do.
It's just the way it is. We're a community or a nation on the move, I guess.
And especially you pointed out, it was one of our last couple shows that we did, that people want these new amenities after going through the pandemic. They want the larger family room. They want the backyard to be bigger. They want room for an office.
Outdoor space. More outdoor space is really huge. People want to be able to be outside. And I think because still a lot of people are more comfortable gathering with large groups, with friends, when it's outside time.
It's true.
So,
and also, once you're in that age group, and once other members of your age group start selling, I think that kind of feeds upon itself as well. So-and-so is selling their homes. Maybe we should be looking at that too.
Well, and what's I think is interesting as well? 75% of would-be buyers aren't looking to move far. As a matter of fact, they're looking to buy a home close to their current residence, okay? So people aren't necessarily not liking where they live, but it's features in the house, like you mentioned, that they want to, now that they've spent so much time at home, maybe now that they're working from home or whatever it is, they realize this is important to me. I want this, I want that, I want this, but I do like where I live. So that's good.
Yeah, it's all good. And what it tells me is that there might be a upswing in inventory coming up.
I hope so. Inventory shortage is not a local problem. I mean, clearly it's a national problem. And I actually read an article that if we continue to build houses and at a pretty aggressive rate for 30 years, it would take us 30 years to catch up to actually have enough homes for everyone. I think I mentioned. It's a lot. We're behind. We're really behind. And so I think I mentioned to you before that I am serving as the chair of the housing committee in Wabasha. And so just in our little 2,500 population.
But it's called what? The Port Authority?
Well, the Port Authority. I actually serve on the Port Authority, but a committee is the housing committee that I chair. Okay. And so our focus is to figure out how to bring more housing into Wabasha. So we're one little town, and it's everywhere, right? So it's like what it takes is not just people talking about it, but boots on the ground. So we're pretty excited that we're going to figure out what land can be built on, whether it's land that's owned by the city or land that is owned privately by people who are willing to sell, and how we can bring in 186 units is our best estimate now. So if a town of 2,500 needs 186 units, think about how many units Rochester needs, and then every little surrounding area around. So there's a huge push in many of these communities to figure out how we can get that housing. Because if you don't have the housing, who do you employ? And that's a bigger problem in the rural communities than it is in the bigger cities, because people don't necessarily want to drive. And a lot of jobs, if it's, working in a hospital or a nursing home or the school, are not jobs you can do remotely. I mean, those are jobs that you have to be there in person. So if they can't find if they can't find homes locally, it's really tough for those employers to recruit help for the jobs.
And you're right. It's even a larger issue for these smaller towns. It's been a huge issue for a town like a city like Rochester. I can't imagine trying to grow an economy in a smaller town.
Right.
With the housing shortages.
it's going to happen, and it's going to happen, in all of the surrounding areas, whether that be Stewartville or Eota or Byron or Casson. We're going to continue to see growth. We're going to continue to see more homes, and we're in a good economy, and housing is still the American dream, and people are still building and people are still buying, and nobody's excited that the cost of materials has gone up or that the interest rates are going up, but it is what it is. People still need a home, and that real estate is still a fantastic investment. So I don't want people to be discouraged. I think people need to understand that homeownership is still awesome, and it's still a great time to buy a house.
And do you know what this kind of situation drives is innovation?
Correct.
When people are running into obstacles and there's a demand to be met, innovators will emerge and come up with solutions.
Right. Exactly. It's like when you think about like a small town like Wabasha, you don't have to think about just building affordable housing for the people who are working the, $15 an hour jobs. You can also think about building some more expensive homes for the people who live in the affordable housing that can afford to move up, but just don't have any options to move up to.
Yes.
But once they do, then that frees up houses in the 200s and 250s. So, it's a very what am I trying to say? What in the world?
Integrated?
There you go. And it's like, it's very, it's like, it works together, right? We move these people up, and then we move these people here, we move these people in, and we just have to try to find, we're doing a housing study to find just exactly what our needs are and how we meet those needs. And that's how you do it in any city, but that's our job, I think, as realtors to help, the cities and the towns understand what the needs are. And it's so easy to collect data now. And
you, with the institutional knowledge you have, a lot of it's right there in the brain, and you see the trends.
Well, I think the stronger force for me, I think, is above my knowledge is my passion. I'm just so passionate about it.
Well, if you want to tap into that passion, how do we get a hold of Robin Gwaltney and the Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results?
I would love to help. And I just want to mention quickly, I love getting calls from listeners. This week, I got a call from Doug, who listens to us every week and just enjoys it so much. And I just love that. It's really nice to get that feedback and get those phone calls. So thanks for calling me this week, Doug. You made my week.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my cell phone it's very public, 507-259-4926. And I always have it with me and most certainly answer it if I'm not busy with someone else, and will return my call if I can't answer it.
Well, great. Robin, we'll chat with you next week. Good luck with the Easter egg hunt.
Thanks. All right. Talk to you later, Andy.
That's Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
The Leading Nebraska podcast tells the stories of University of Nebraska system researchers and students who are making an impact. Join us as we follow Ted Carter, president of the University of Nebraska. He shares how NU was one of the only university systems in the country to grow during the pandemic and how the university helps drive the state's economy and success. Listen today on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just search for Leading Nebraska.